Parapeeps, and welcome to another episode of Our Haunted Travels. Let's Talk Paranormal Live. I am your host, Sean Donnelly.
I'm your co-host, Marianne Donnelly.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. Saturday, gray skies, but what else you gonna do?
It happens.
It happens. It happens.
At least it's not like blowing a ton of wind around and stuff.
Yeah, that
like
was
they
a little
expected.
bit crazy for about 30 seconds yesterday.
Yeah, and it wasn't nearly as bad as they said it was going to be. Thank goodness, because winds scare me nowadays, you know.
Enough said.
Yeah.
Well, we see everybody checking in here. We had a hopping chat party before the show started here a little bit. I was freaking out because I had a little glitch over here, but it's working. Everything's fine. Everything's good. Today's topic is women in paranormal history, because it is Women's History Month. The idea for the show I got from Kay.
Yeah?
Yeah. I'm like, any suggestions on what we could do Saturday?
Yeah, you had a couple other ideas, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, hey, we're going to do this. I'm like,
at some point, we're gonna bring some games back and do some games, and we're working out some of the details. Not quite there yet, but almost.
Okay. I still have one of the old ones back here.
Yeah, we could do that.
Yeah. I got that one right back here. All right, the Our Haunted Travels. Would you rather? Would you rather pull out all of your teeth in your mouth or eat a cockroach?
Yeah, we'll have to bring that back at some time.
Yeah, there was the one side that was paranormal. I just happened to grab two that were not paranormal.
So if you're watching the playback, I will be putting the link down in the description as to when the topic starts. If you want to skip ahead over our house cleaning information. I've said that now the past like 3 or 4 weeks, and I haven't gone in and put that time in yet. I need to do that.
So, by the way, they're answering that question. Joanne would rather have her teeth taken out, and Queen Helen Casey's like, neither. Riser's treasure hunting would, of course, want the cockroach. And I'm sure that Inspired John would want to eat the cockroach, too. I just know it. He hasn't responded to that.
Well, there's that whole thing about eating bugs with him and Tony. And, yeah. So what we're going to do for this topic is we actually, I didn't think it was this many, but we kind of confirmed it. And I think there might be a couple more that we missed. But
that's always a possibility.
Yeah. We have over 450 some videos out there that we have already produced and put out. So we went through the list and came up with 36 women that we've already covered in paranormal history.
Lori wants to know if they could cook the cockroach first. But of course, Inspired Dawn did say he wants the cockroach.
Dip it in chocolate. Cook it and dip it in chocolate. Everything's better dipped in chocolate. I don't know. I wouldn't eat a chocolate-covered cockroach. You probably would.
Riser says, or you could use mustard.
Oh, mustard would be good, too, I guess. All right, so we have 13 viewers.
Okay.
So far. Do we want to... I don't know where Boris is at.
I'm not sure. Would you want me to do the hello person part thing first?
Sure, go ahead. Let's do a roll call.
Inspired John says, chocolate dipped means dead.
We have 14 viewers. If you haven't said hi in chat, please do so now so it pops up on Marianne's screen there and we could say hi back.
All right, we have BWY Adventures, Happy Trails Hiking, Hike 365 Challenge, Inspired John, Joanne Reagan, Kay Johnston, Lori Bryant, Queen Helen Casey, Riser's Treasure Hunting Emporium, Patrick Bryan Outside, The History Buff, Long Halloween, Tanya Lambert. All right. And I know that we also had somebody else in here too. I always get lost. It like moves once you
That's
go
okay.
to that other screen.
The point is, at this time during the show, as we're getting started, if we have over 10 people at this point, we got to bring out our buddy Boris and see if we could double it up. What do you guys want to see, Boris?
It was Boris's birthday yesterday.
I know. We got to get him out here. Let's get Boris out here. Let's celebrate his birthday. Here we go. Alrighty, he got to get out there and stretch his legs a little bit.
Yeah.
He's looking a little peaked. Got his exercise in.
Yeah, so apparently yesterday was his birthday. He didn't even tell us.
I know. I it just popped up on Twitter.
Yeah.
It's Boris's birthday.
Yeah.
So yesterday
crazy.
was Boris's birthday.
Yeah. So Lori says happy birthday to Boris, and Gemma's here. Hi, Gemma.
Hi, Gemma. Hello.
All right. So what else you got?
Well, you have an item that's going to go in a thing. I think you mentioned it on Kay's show.
Kay's stream.
For those of you who joined us last week or saw last week's live stream, Marianne talked about a Life magazine that had the mummy
Of John Wilkes Booth,
John Wilkes
supposedly.
Booth. And of course she had to acquire that copy of that Life magazine.
But of course I did. So I have now a new copy of Life magazine. Yep. This happens to be the July 11th, 1938 edition. And inside are the photos.
How are we going to add those magazines? Are you going to take some pictures of inside?
One of the other ones that I have, the True magazine one, I took a photograph of the front, a photograph of the back, and a photograph of the article that was of importance for us. So I will be doing the same with this one.
So that's Shirley Temple on the cover, in case you can't make it out in the video. But yeah, pretty cool.
All right. So that is our newest addition to our collection.
Yeah, that will be going in the museum, which is one thing that we have on our list that we plan on doing now that we have a little bit of extra time.
Yeah, although it's not really seeming like we have that much extra time. We're doing like a lot more work.
We have been.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Yeah,
I've always said it takes more for me not to be in my classroom than it does.
I agree with you. I agree with you.
Yeah.
So you found a history article.
I did, for today's day in history. Yes.
I got all kinds of pop-ups on here, but we'll see if this works.
And it ties in with our topic for today as well. This one here is the very first time. It was 1868. It was the first U.S. professional women's club. It was created in New York City. And it was called Cirrhosis. And it was called Cirrhosis for a couple of reasons. And it was actually formed for a couple of reasons, too. It was called Cirrhosis because it means sister in Latin. And also, it's a term we use in botany for fruit that grows from blooms of multiple flowers, like a pineapple, which means welcome, right? All the pineapples, if you have a pineapple on your front door or something, that's supposed to welcome people. It turned out they created this group because there was a woman who was named Crowley. It was Jane Cunningham Crowley, who wanted to go to this thing that they were having, this gathering for Charles Dickens. And they were going to be honoring him, and he was going to be there and all that, and she wanted to go, and she was refused a ticket because she was a woman. And then they finally said, okay, well, if you women want to come to this thing, you're going to have to be behind a drape so that none of the men can see you. And of course, Charles Dickens, he wouldn't be able to see you either. And they're like, yeah, I don't think so. That's not going to happen. So they said, we're just not going to go, because we're not going to go under those circumstances and those rules and conditions. And so they said, let's make our own group and not invite any men. And so that's what they did.
So it was a he-woman man-haters club. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I guess that's kind of what I'm saying. Yeah, so that's why they actually started the women's clubs. And their first meeting was not long after that. It was like in May, I think it was their first official meeting where they had 12 members. And you had to be invited to join the group by another woman from the group. You just couldn't just join, and you had to pay $5.
Wow!
And this is in the 1860s. That's a lot of money.
Crazy.
But yeah.
All right,
they used to meet at Delmonico's, by the way, in New York. Delmonico's said, they were kind of progressive, and they're like, yeah, you guys can meet here. I don't care. And so that's where they started their meetings too.
Drop the link to our newsletter, because that link to that article will be in our newsletter coming out
Okay.
In the next couple days, panicd.com/EM. Yep. So if you're not on our newsletter, now's the time to join. Marianne's going to drop the link in there. Make sure you sign up for our newsletter. And a link to that will be in there.
Yeah. Inspire John wants to know what the topic was. And I can't remember if the article said what the topic was or not. I don't remember. I kind of did a little bit of research in a couple other places, and I forget. I know that they mentioned a couple other things, but I do know that they did get some requests for men to join, and they turned them down flat. They're like, nope, not going to happen. Sorry, you were not born privileged enough to have the two
That's
X's.
Like I said, it was a... He woman man haters.
That's
club.
right. That's right. Inspire John. Yeah. So, anyways.
All right. So we are 16 and a half minutes in. Are we ready to start going over these?
If you would like.
Yeah, I think the rest of the stuff we'll throw in the newsletter. The forensic topic and so on and so forth.
Okay.
Last week on our channel, we covered... Oh, man. What did we do? What did we do? I don't even remember.
Last week we were still doing intermittent things. We did Evergreen and...
We're still plugging in, finishing some things up. So we did the history of the Evergreen Cemetery, which is out there.
Right, and we did the history and
Bennett.
information for Dr. Bennett at the other cemetery.
Yeah. At the Point Pleasant Pioneer Cemetery.
Pioneer, yep.
So those were the two videos last week.
Mm-hmm.
Next week, we're kicking around some ideas. I don't know what we're going to do yet, since we have a little bit of extra time, if we have extra time, because
it's
of
always
work.
a big if.
We may be doing a Behind the Haunting, or a couple of them, because we have time to get ready for them. And that's going to be pushing us close to having enough chapters done where we can start working on that book.
Oh, something
That's
else
why I'm
to do.
saying I want to get a couple more chapters out there, or a couple more of those done, and then we could put them in a book form and have it published. And thank everybody that gave us the super chat.
There you go. All right.
So
that's an idea. And you were
keep
also...
your eyes open. Make sure you're on the newsletter, because I'll be putting that stuff out, and so on and so forth.
All right. You were also thinking about another location, but I guess that will be postponed.
Well, we still make the videos.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
It would be nice to get ahead.
What? Who ever heard of such things?
Yes, it would be our third book, actually, that we're talking about doing, and we need to get back on the Our Haunted Travel series. We got volume 1 out there, but
yeah, and I should really work on a secondary coloring book too.
Yeah, we actually finished up Point Pleasant, so we actually could do that as Our Haunted Travel series, or that whole area. Yeah. Okay. But I want to get some local stuff done, so when we do shows locally, we can have something at our booth that people were like, "Oh, that's kind of interesting." Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Anyways, all kinds of stuff going on. But all right, so let's move on to our topic. So we are at 1855. Can you write that on there, a little post-it, and eventually I'll go back and add that. Marianne and Kay from Happy Trails Hiking has the link to this playlist I'm going to be talking about, and it's also down in the description. So what we did was we went back over our videos that we already have out there that cover either historically or paranormal or both, that are about women or females, because a couple of them are younger girls.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yes.
So we're going to go through the list and share it with you, and kind of like give you a little summary of what that video is about. Or
maybe not necessarily the video so much as the person.
Yeah, the story behind it. So,
okay.
Does that sound interesting, you guys? Are you ready?
Yes, there are a lot of women in history, and clearly we're not going to hit on all of them.
No, just the ones that we've covered so far. There's 36 of them.
Yeah. Wow.
That we've covered so far.
That you noticed in your list.
That I noticed. I went through I kept going through the list over and over. Oh, I forgot that one. Oh, I forgot that one.
Yes.
Yeah, that I noticed. So.
Yeah, like these people on my shirt that you can't hardly see, they're not even in any of our videos yet.
Yet.
Yeah.
They're coming.
Yeah.
All right, so You guys already dropped the link to the playlist? All right, here we go.
Inspired John. 50% of history were women. Well, they didn't get credit for much of it.
Okay, come on. Guys versus girls here. All right, so the first one on the list, of course, we had to add her as number one, was Lorraine Warren. We did a tribute video to her when she passed away. And you want to talk a little bit about her while I kind of fix this screen here a little bit?
What's wrong with the screen?
No, I'm going to pop us up on
Oh,
here,
okay.
so.
Well, obviously, Lorraine Warren was one of the Warren pair that really was very influential in paranormal research. And, what more can you say other than that? I mean...
And those of you who are not into paranormal, you've heard about their cases. The Conjuring series is based on their cases. The Amityville Horror, they investigated that. That blood blew everything out of the water was their investigations. They started out, husband and wife team, like you said, Ed and Lorraine Warren, and they were called in to investigate cases. And what they focused on was gathering enough evidence to present to the Catholic Church for an exorcism. That's actually what they did. So, and then they published books and so on and so forth. So,
yes,
yeah,
and of
unfortunately,
course,
she passed away.
They started probably the first paranormal museum, right, where they were collecting all of the different items from the different locations that they investigated, and led to, of course, the Haunted Collector, right? That was her nephew.
One of their nephews.
I think it was her nephew, and he got his own show based on that and everything. And up until not too long ago, you could actually go to the Warrens for visitation with some of those haunted items that they started their collection with. And then, of course, like many other paranormal locations, they had some, issues with local, regulations, shall I say, on allowing people to come in and...
Yeah. Okay.
The standard paranormal problems.
Yeah. So this isn't going to work the way I thought it would. So we're just going to have to go through the list. Next one on the list. Shocker. Lizzie Borden.
Where's my
Lizzie Borden.
Where's my toys?
I think...
Where's my toys?
Yeah. I think when I put out polls and ask people about what's their favorite on our channel, I mean, she's like number one. Then when we did the whole month on Lizzie Borden, I think most of the people who watch our videos and follow our channel now know in depth about Lizzie Borden. Yes. And I don't think we can add any more videos until we go back and do some more research and go to some other places and actually get a chance to spend the night in Maplecroft.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
there's
awesome. There are a couple more that I wanted to do, but I did not visit those locations yet, and so I need to,
So there's actually another playlist on our channel for all the Lizzie Borden videos we did. We did a whole month right before we got monetized.
Yes.
We even did a live stream where I interviewed Marianne dressed up as Lizzie Borden. That was kind of interesting.
So the Long Halloween is here. Hello and welcome. Says that, yes, all while raising a daughter, they kept up the museum. That is true. The Warrens did have a daughter that lived in the house with those items. And them, of course. And then Inspired John goes, Lizzie, my girl. And Hikes 365 says, there are standard problems in the paranormal world?
Yeah.
And Tanya Lambert says that her mom's senior class did a play about Lizzie.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Yeah. There's actually a play that they're doing sort of now. It was like within the last year that was also based on Lizzie. And it got kind of mixed reviews. I did not see it, so.
Well, we did a play, too.
We also did a play.
The retrial of Lizzie Borden.
Yes.
Yeah.
And surprisingly, both times she got away.
Yeah, she did. She was acquitted.
She was acquitted in real life and in our plays. And it was always up to our guests whether or not
Yeah.
she would get acquitted. We
Based
did it
on
twice.
the additional evidence that was presented.
Yeah.
We did that as a murder mystery, so that was kind of interesting.
Riser says, wonder what her online dating profile would be.
Yeah. Can you imagine that? Match.com profile?
Just so long as she didn't, like we said when we were doing the 1893 World's Fair, just so long as she didn't mate up with H.H. Holmes.
Yeah, that would have been ugly. Something popped up, but I didn't catch it.
I don't know.
All right, so the next one that we have in there is one about Abby Borden. Okay, so
That's Lizzie's sister, for those of you who are not Lizzie fans. Oh, no, not her sister. That was her stepmother. Yeah, that's what I meant. I'm sorry.
Holy cow.
My gosh. Yes, that's her stepmother. Not her real mother, her stepmother is what I meant to say. Wow. I made a mistake. Oh, no.
So anyways, that video that's in there, it says, did we spend the night with Abby Borden? If you haven't saw that, what that is about is we actually spent the night in the room where Abby was found. And we caught a recording on Mary Ann's recorder that she left running as we were falling asleep, and it sounds like somebody walked up to the bed. Mm-hmm. So that's what that video is about, and that's why I added it to the list, because who knows? Was it Abby? Who knows?
Yeah, never know.
Never know. All right, the next one on the list is about Lucille Ball. You guys might go, Lucille Ball? What do these guys know about Lucille Ball?
Yeah.
We actually went to Lucille Ball's gravesite in Jamestown, New York. When my sister got married, she had a reception up in Dunkirk, where her husband was from, and one down here. So we drove up to Dunkirk, and along the way was Jamestown, Pennsylvania. So we stopped and looked for the gravesite and went to the Lucille Ball Museum. Mm-hmm. So that was enough to kind of spin off and make a video about, and that is actually pretty popular on our channel.
Well, she was pretty popular in life.
Yeah.
And then she has several hauntings that are associated with her, so, that always piques people's interest.
Right. Yeah. The next one we have is about Harriet Taylor Upton.
She's a local girl.
That's right. If you haven't caught those videos, she was actually a leader in the women's suffrage movement.
That's right.
Right from Warren, Ohio, which is not too far from here.
Right.
And we did some events in that house.
Yes, her house is available for rent, that you can rent it out for different parties and events. And we rented it probably close to a half dozen times. And we went in there, and they have a little museum up there with information about the suffrage movement, and there's some letters and things from Susan B. Anthony addressed to her that are in the house, and it's very important woman in the suffrage movement was from right here where we live.
Yeah, and it's quite interesting that she actually ended up losing that house during the stock market crash, Great Depression. She actually lost the house. It was willed to her from her father, and then during that she lost all of her money, lost the house and everything, moved to California. She actually ended up passing away in California, but the organization that took over the house and redid the house and everything and created the museum petitioned courts in California to have her reinterred. Her remains were brought back, and she's actually
buried in the
backyard of the house in Warren. Yeah.
Yes, she was cremated, so they did bring the urn here. They buried it in the backyard. There's a little placard there for it, and I believe it was the judge who said okay actually came to this interment ceremony, which is really cool.
Yeah. So that's pretty neat. There's more videos besides that one on our channel about the Harriet Upton house and everything. Now this next one, I don't know how in depth we should go into this, because we're going to be on Happy Trails hiking on Tuesday and talk about this.
Yeah, but we're not going to go too in depth, because we're not really going too in depth on all of these. We've got a lot of things to get through. And like you said, we're going to be on Happy Trails on Tuesday.
Yes.
Talking about this very thing.
Yeah. So the Sealy Rose house. Sealy Rose, we did a Behind the Haunting on it. Actually, I think it's the first one we ever did. It's number 1. where it talks about Celie Rose and what she did. Basically, she fell in love with the little farmhand next door, and she was kind of slow. I mean, she was an older girl out of school, but they kind of like described her as having like the mind of a 12-year-old. So she got infatuated with the little boy next door, well, the farmhand next door, and thought that they were in love and going to be together and all this other stuff.
And when it didn't quite work out.
Yeah, she was kind of like she was a nuisance to him and interrupting his work and stuff. So his father said something to her father about it, and they basically put their foot down, said, leave that boy alone, don't go, whatever. Well, it upset her so bad, she ended up taking out the whole family.
Yeah.
So that she could be with him.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we did a whole week on Celie Rose and talked about the house, and we went to an event there, and you actually did a recipe.
I did.
How to make homemade schmear case, or AKA cottage cheese.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, we're going to be talking about that a little bit more Tuesday.
Yes. Inspiration John says, like taking out to dinner? Not exactly.
No. Not quite.
Let's just say none of them had dinner again.
Yeah. All right, so the next one we have is the Squire's Castle. Talking about Squire's Castle. Now, what was her... Where's that at? Because I don't remember the names, the first name. What was her first name?
Louisa.
Louisa?
I believe it was Louisa.
Louisa Squire.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes, Louisa.
All right, so we did a whole thing about Squire's Castle, which is a really cool building. It's in a park in Willoughby, Ohio. And it was actually meant to be the gatehouse for an estate that they were building. Actually, F.B. Squire was the guy's name. He was building an estate on this property, and they built that gatehouse. He used the gatehouse to go out there to like get away from Cleveland. He was one of the vice presidents of Standard Oil who got in trouble when Standard Oil's legal issues happened, but his wife hated it out there. And the paranormal claims behind it is that they see a woman walking carrying a lantern with a red light. Mm-hmm. Okay. The problem is she didn't pass away there. Okay, she passed away in their other house where they were living.
Yeah, so part of the story
doesn't quite. I mean, it's a legend.
But at the same time, there are many a spirit who are supposed to roam in multiple places, not just the place they died. So.
True. So the legend is that she walked into the trophy room and was scared by all the trophies on the thing, and she tripped and fell and broke her neck there, and now she's there. But
but that is not indeed where she did die.
Yeah. So we added that to the list because of, what was her name?
Louisa.
Mm-hmm. Who is thought to haunt Squire's Castle. All right. Next one on the list is Little Mary of the Orpheum Theater, and this is in Memphis, Tennessee.
That's right.
I like this story.
Yes, you do. Why don't you tell it? You tell it so well.
I've been telling all these stories. Are you going to tell one?
I don't know. Maybe. I'm just kind of starting watching chat here.
All right. Little Mary was a little girl who was ran out in front of a trolley car in front of the theater in Memphis. And it's thought that she haunts the theater there. And actually so much so that they leave a seat available for her during all the performances. She's been seen running around when there's practices going on and all kinds of things, and plays with the lights and all that other stuff like that. So that video talks about that.
So if you visit there and you go to a sold out event and there's a seat, and be like, well, there's a seat. That's Mary's seat. Yeah.
So this location we call a drive-by location for us. Now what that means is we found information about it. We have pictures because we were by it, but we didn't get a chance to go inside because we didn't realize when we were there.
Right.
But the picture, like on the thumbnail and stuff like that, those are our pictures. We were there, but we didn't go inside the Orpheum Theater.
Yes, we didn't.
That's why we say, man, I'd love to go back to these places, knowing what we know now, because now we know to look into the area and see if there's any other claims or anything like that.
And
go to those places. But back then, when we were in Memphis, I didn't think we were doing paranormal back then.
No. But even though we might know about some things, we still don't get to some of the places when we're there just simply because of timing.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes we don't have enough time. Sometimes they don't have events. They're not open to the public on a regular basis. They're like, oh, only open from this time to this time on this day of the week. So sometimes we just don't get the ability to go inside either. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
It happens. But that's a cool place, cool story.
Yes. Tanya Lambert says she must entertain herself, and Happy Trails Hiking says Mary drives the tech crew crazy.
Yes, I bet she does.
Yeah.
The next two that we have in here, these were videos that I made when we started working the channel. I mean, like probably the week that I started, like, okay, we're going to do our haunted travels. I had no idea how our format was going to be. I mean, we didn't have our opening and closing and all that other stuff. I didn't know how I was going to do this. Originally, I thought we weren't going to be on camera, you know.
Oh, you were going to be one of those.
I was going to be one of those that I just wasn't going to be on camera. You know, we didn't have the equipment to do narration that great and all that other stuff. So those next two videos that's in the list, but they're about women. Mm-hmm. These are... in the paranormal realm, they're famous photos. The one about the Madonna in Bachelor's Grove, that's in Chicago. So I saw somebody said something about Chicago cemeteries.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
That one's outside of Chicago. I would like to get there someday, the Bachelor's Grove, but that's the photograph that they took of a woman sitting on a bench. And then the other one, the Watcher photograph, I can't remember where that's from, but it's not from the U.S. So those are photographs, and but they're kind of interesting. It has the text that tells you the story about them. So
okay.
I added those.
Okay.
You want to talk about Betsy Ross, at least? Save my voice? Holy cow.
So Betsy Ross, of course, is the
Timber Hill Redbone Coonhounds. Hello, hello, hello.
Is the woman who is given credit for the creation of the American flag. And she is one of two women who have an American flag flying over her grave 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. But I find it interesting how small the one above her grave is.
So here's a trivia question. It was recommended to us last night to have trivia questions, and I forgot about it.
Oh, I didn't forget. I thought you just didn't want to do it.
Who's the other female? We haven't covered her videos yet.
But we did mention her in our video last week.
Who's the other female that has a flag over her grave that is maintained by the federal government? If anybody knows, leave that in chat. Okay, keep going.
Okay, so anyways, I was surprised at how small the flag is on her grave as compared to the other person's when she's the one who supposedly... made the first flag. Now there are some people who say no, it wasn't her, that kind of thing. But her house is there. It is renovated to go back to her time period. Her grave is literally right on the property. It's just surreal, like when you walk in and the things that they say were there when she was there, and it's just like it's just this feeling comes over. You're like, yes, I am in Betsy Ross's house.
Yeah, that was a cool place.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. And so if you're in Philadelphia and you go on one of the historical walking areas, they call it the historical walking tour, and her house, it just happens to be on one of those. You can go into the house, take a tour,
go upstairs, downstairs, all over the place.
Yeah, and there's several hauntings that are associated with that building as
well. The one that that sticks out, and I didn't go through all these and refresh my memory of all the hauntings, is a gentleman in the basement area.
Yep, right by that door.
Yeah, so there's pictures in there, and it talks about the haunting and stuff like that. The video does. Yeah. So, yeah, that was a cool one. And it was cool to see her gravesite there.
Yeah, it was another one of those, oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Next one we have is the orbs at St. Augustine City Gates.
Now,
by the way, back to the thing. Yeah, I've got to go back because I saw risers.
Inspire John and risers both said that they knew, and Happy Trail said she knew it was in Gettysburg.
Yeah.
So it
It's
is
Jenny
in
Wade.
fact Jenny Wade, Mary Virginia Wade. So yes.
Yep, Jenny Wade.
And Lori thought something was in Boston, but that might be Betsy Ross. But her house is actually in Philadelphia. We haven't been to Boston yet.
No.
It was on the list for last year and this year. We'll see. Someday.
Keep going.
Someday I'm going to
Someday
Boston.
I'm going to get to Boston. Someday.
Someday I'm going to Boston. There's a lot of historical buildings in Boston that I want to see.
Okay, can I move on now?
Yes, you may move on.
All right, Orbs of St. Augustine City Gates. Why is that on the list?
There's actually a little girl named Elizabeth who...
On the list for 2030.
2030. Nice. Thanks. Is that your year, 2030, or is that how far you think it's going to take for me to get there, huh? But the little Elizabeth is supposed to play in the gates. She...
Remember that name, Elizabeth. We're going to talk about that later.
So she likes to play back and forth and play with the guests going through the city gates. She was left at the city gates when she was...
Well, legend.
Yes, legend has it that she was left at the gates during an outbreak of, let's just say,
Yeah, during an outbreak where people had to stay in their homes and things like that. Yeah.
Lots of people were quarantined at the time.
Yeah. So actually, that one is actually in our book too. So
yes,
the City Gates. All right, the next one we have is I put that recipe for the Chicago style brownies for Mrs. Palmer.
Mrs. Palmer's brownies, Chicago again for the person in the room. I think it was I forget. It was called the something. The Long Halloween, I think it might have been. Anyways, from Chicago, Mrs. Palmer, her husband had a hotel, and they had a restaurant where she went in, and she's like, there's this World's Fair thing coming up, and I think we need to have some sort of a dessert that can go in these like boxes we're selling. That the ladies
can eat with their gloves on
without making a mess, and they can, have a sweet treat. And I want you to come up with something. So that's where Mrs. Palmer requested brownies be made.
I still don't get the apricot, though.
It was
Was that to keep them sticky so they don't fall apart, maybe?
Oh, I think it was just for a little extra delectability. You don't taste it very much, though.
No, that's why I don't get it.
Yeah. It was kind of like, instead of frosting, they put a little bit of apricot jam on the top. So that is where the first brownie came from, and it was her idea to have something for the ladies. Now, who actually made it was one of the chefs in her restaurant, but
so I guess the ones that we're
she gets
talking
credit
about,
for it.
I'll have at the top of the list. I think if you could see that, I wanted to click on these. I should have just took the thumbnails and shown them, but that's what I want to do. Anyways, next one we have on the list is the haunting at the Hotel Conneaut, and the reason for that is because of the bride that has been seen at Hotel Conneaut, whose name is
Elizabeth.
That's two so far,
Yes,
right?
yes. Now, the Hotel Conneaut, Elizabeth, is another legend.
Yes.
Because she supposedly died in a fire at the hotel. There was a fire at the hotel, but the hotel was closed at the time. So how did she die in the fire if there was no guests there? Whatever. Yeah. Right? So, yeah. So it's another one of those things that...
Legends.
It's a legend, but...
But when we go to Hotel Conneaut and we do those shows and stuff, we stay in Elizabeth's room, the bridal suite, and we do an investigation in there.
Yes. So before we move on to the next ones, Lori was saying that she did not visit the Betsy Ross house when she was in Philadelphia. She thinks she's thinking another house. I'm sure, because there's a ton of homes in and buildings in Boston that are like really historical. I'm not sure exactly what inspired John was talking about. Is the thing which we do not speak. Oh, I know. I get it. Never mind. And he was talking then about Girl Scout cookies, so I'm not real 100% sure. if he's making Girl Scout cookies, eating Girl Scout cookies, thinks that Palmer's brownies are like Girl Scout cookies. I don't know.
So the next one, you need to bring up your list.
I need to bring up my list? Okay.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Yes. Okay. So the next video that we have on there is the Ghost of the White House. And there's actually, how many women that's associated to
1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah.
4. Okay. So I'll take 2, you take 2. Okay. How's that sound?
Sure.
All right. So the first one is Abigail Adams, who has been seen in the East Wing, which is where they used to do the laundry. She's been seen there, and they smell laundry soap.
Right.
There on occasion. The smell of laundry soap.
That's right.
The next one is Dolly Madison, that is associated with the smell of roses in the rose garden, which, by the way, they were going to rip out the rose garden, and the contractors had some paranormal experiences and said, "Hey, we're not doing this."
Yes.
So they ended up keeping it.
Yes. Apparently, Dolly was not going to have them ripping out her
You're not
roses.
taking out my rose garden, so it still stands today.
That's right.
All right.
Yeah. So another one is Anne Surratt, who, if you've been following along, we like Lincoln, and we've been talking about some of the Lincoln conspiracy things. And Mary Surratt was hanged for her supposed part of conspiracy in the assassination of Lincoln. And her daughter, Anne, is the one that's seen at the White House on the front steps, beating on the door, begging for Lincoln's not predecessor, but gosh, I'm doing terrible with words today.
I know. You don't have
and
practice
you're just
standing in front of people.
I know, and you're not helping. So the person that comes after, well, yeah, but the person that comes after isn't the predecessor; it's the successor. To please spare her life. Show here. To please spare her life.
Yeah.
And of course, that did not happen. But she is seen every year on July 7th, the day that her mother was executed.
Did you remember that date, or you have it written down?
I remembered it, but it is here. I remember it because we always go to Washington and things around that date, and we always miss it because it's so close to the 4th of July that we don't, or it's like, oh my gosh, we can't go to the Capitol at the 4th of July, you know. So I just kind of remember that because of that.
Okay, so the next one.
All right, and then Frances Cleveland, Grover Cleveland's wife, they believe that she is the woman that is screaming in the White House. And I even remember when we were doing the show where we did the Behind the Haunting on the White House, I was like, how can they know it was her? All she's doing is screaming. But they believe that it's her because she's the first woman to give birth in the house. And so, of course, back in the day, she would have probably screamed a little bit more.
Yeah.
No drugs for that, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyways, that's why the Ghost of the White House is on the list.
Yes, so let me pull up. Pusha's here and has given us a super chat. Thank you so much.
Thank you very
Pusha.
much. Appreciate that. All right, so the next one we have on here is actually our Let's Talk Paranormal number 54, where we did a live stream on the Ghost of Anne Boleyn.
Okay, you go ahead.
So we did a whole live stream about that, of all the different places where she's been seen and things like that. So.
Yeah, and I liked in that her Bible that she used and kind of held on to and studied and everything is still around today.
Yeah. The next one is Elizabeth Stiles. This one is, if you didn't see our video, you probably
have no idea who
she is. She was actually a spy for Abraham Lincoln, and this ties into Madison Seminary up north of here. We did a bunch of videos about Madison, and we did a collab with PSPR up there. We were up there investigating with them, and we went to her gravesite.
Yes, we did.
Yeah, that's an interesting. We did a whole Behind the Haunting on her.
Yeah. hers was really cool because she was a spy. She had a letter from Lincoln indicating that, she would be given passage.
Cross over the lines.
And somebody actually had found that still in her things, and it's really cool.
That's pretty neat. Next one on the list is Peg Entwistle.
Mm-hmm. Yes, Peg
the
Entwistle.
Hollywood sign girl.
Yes.
Yeah.
She was, of course, the girl who supposedly jumped to her death from the Hollywood sign.
Yeah. So if you're looking for something to do, this playlist, let's drop the links to the playlist again. You could go watch this and learn about all these paranormal or
historical women
and paranormal
things.
history. That's the title of this. That's the point of today's live stream.
Yeah, but we're just kind of looking at some of the women that we've
already
already
some
covered.
of these, most everybody here in chat's watched our videos, but they might not have seen some of these older ones that's covering some of this stuff. So I thought, okay, yeah, that'd be kind of cool to kind of just go over the stories a little bit more.
Yeah. The History Buff says, epic claim to fame. And I'm like, yes. Can you imagine just, walking around with, a letter from Abraham Lincoln, just, in your
sewn into
your dress, just in case you need it. I mean, that would be so cool.
You're up next for this next one too. The Hollywood dinner party.
Oh, Hollywood dinner parties. Got it. Okay, go ahead. Are you ready for it now?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yep. All right. So in the Hollywood.
Oh, we didn't talk about the Hollywood girl sign.
Well, I kind of said she jumped to her death, supposedly.
Okay.
Allegedly. Some people say she was pushed.
I don't even think that she died there. I think she died somewhere else, and they dropped her there, and they released that story.
Mm-hmm.
That's my opinion.
Okay.
And we talk about it in the Behind the Haunting. But
yeah.
Okay.
All right. So associated with that, the week that we did the Peg Entwistle and the Hollywood sign, we said, well, let's do a Hollywood video for a dinner. And so we did a collab for that one with Happy Trails Hiking. And I did, on our channel, I did the appetizers and the desserts, and Happy Trails Hiking did some Hollywood drinks, some spirits, and the main course. So if you check out that one as well, and Happy Trails, if you want to, I don't know if you have the link for that, just at your fingertips, but you feel more than welcome to drop that in there. But in ours, we had Thelma Ritter, we had Elizabeth Montgomery, Claudette Colbert, Mary Pickford, and Carol Burnett recipes. And some of them actually have real hauntings associated with them. Like, for example, Elizabeth Montgomery, she played Lizzie Borden in the Lizzie Borden story. She also found out later that she was related to Lizzie Borden. Mm-hmm. And when she was younger, she actually saw a ghost while she was staying at a cottage overseas. She saw several times that there was somebody running down the hall. She heard running down the hall, and then the one time she actually did get to see the feet and the footsteps.
I think everyone knows who Elizabeth Montgomery is. We don't have her picture. That was Samantha in Bewitched. Yeah. No, that's a genie. That's
the one with the nose.
Oh yeah, the one with the nose. You're right. You're crossing your arms though, like me.
No, that was Genie. That was the genie, but she did the nose twitch. But she saw a person in old-fashioned clothing running down the hall at this cottage, and eventually one of the maids that was there is like, you saw her, didn't you? And she's like, what? Yeah. So that was her. She had a real honest-to-goodness haunting that she was privy to. And then Mary Pickford, she's actually seen as a ghost. I don't know so much necessarily today, but at her estate that she lived out with her husband, that they built up and everything, she was often seen in the hallway and things like that. And there was a woman seen many times. They all believe it was her. Even someone holding a score of music. And then Pia Zadora actually bought the house, said she was going to restore it back to her glory days of the building and everything, And it turned out that she didn't do that. She ended up demolishing the building. And there's some people who say that she demolished it because she couldn't handle the hauntings anymore. But supposedly after the building was demolished, the haunting there stopped. So it was. They said that she was exorcised by the demolition of the house. And then I think it was Claudette Colbert, maybe. I think it was her. Yes, it was Claudette Colbert. She actually played in several movies associated with the ghosts at the time. So, yeah.
Okay. We still got time.
All right.
So the next one on the list is the Angel of Gettysburg. That's one of my favorite stories.
Thorne.
Yeah, Elizabeth Thorne, that was charged with taking care of Evergreen Cemetery when her husband went off to war, and they didn't think it would get to Gettysburg, and it did, and she stuck running the cemetery. And
she was 6 months pregnant at the time, digging graves in the hard, rocky soil. Yeah. Inspired John says Bewitched was in the 1960s, wasn't it? I think it was the 60s or 70s.
I think it was in the 60s.
I think it was in the 60s, yeah.
Late 60s, early 70s.
Yeah. Hike 365, by the way, says another Elizabeth. Keep your eye on that.
How many has that been so far? 3 or 4? I don't know. Elizabeth.
That's right. There's a lot
Elizabeth
of
Thorne,
Elizabeths.
Yeah, a lot of Elizabeth.
Yes, and we were actually talking about that earlier today, and you said...
Don't name your kid Elizabeth. She's coming back as a ghost. All right, so the next one is The Haunting of the Congress Plaza. Now, we've added that because... What's the lady's name?
Oh, this is the one that I had no idea that she even was
we had
named.
to actually go back and watch our video because we forgot her name.
I didn't know she had an actual name. I think she was towards the top. Adele Langer.
Yeah. This was in the news there in Chicago, and we had news clippings and stuff about it where she was an immigrant that came into central the United States and was staying at the Congress Plaza, and she's waiting to hear from her beloved to come and join her and her 2 sons. And she thought, because she never heard from him, she thought that basically something happened and he wasn't coming, so she was not right in the head and took care of the 2 small children's lives and her lives and jumped out the window and so she's seen there at the Congress Plaza Hotel, which is where we stayed the first time we went to Chicago. And when we were looking earlier, when we were watching the video, and we were looking at the news clips again, that looks pretty close to the room that we had. Because you could see, if you guys watch that video, if you see the newspaper clip and look out the thing, you see the fountain. We have pictures of that same angle.
There's a picture of a guy.
It's like almost the same
the
floor. I don't think it's the same room. It could be left or right. I don't know, but that was...
Yeah.
We don't know for sure because they've renumbered the numbers at the hotel, so...
Right. And Happy Trails said, was Betsy Ross's real name Elizabeth? And I said, I didn't know, but Inspired John has looked it up, and he says she was an Elizabeth. So there you go. There's one more Elizabeth for sure.
Could this be another paranormal theory?
It could be.
Don't know. All right, so that's why the Congress Plaza is in here.
It says Betsy Ross was born Elizabeth Griscom.
Huh, interesting.
All right. Very cool.
The next one we have is The Haunting of St. Augustine Lighthouse. And this is in there because the 2 little sisters that's been known to roam the grounds around the lighthouse and the keeper's house that had drowned on an accident while they were building the lighthouse.
Right, they were
rebuilding the lighthouse.
They were playing.
I don't know what it was.
They were playing while there was some construction going on, and they
got in a cart that
Yeah.
went out into the thing and they ended up drowning.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, and Lori says, and Lizzie Borden, Lizbeth. Yep. And History Buff says Ksenia's real name is Elizabeth, old Latvian family name. I didn't know that.
Who said that?
History Buff said that Ksenia's name is really it means Elizabeth in the old Latvian name. That's interesting. Is he lying, Pusha, or is that the truth? It's hard to tell with him sometimes.
Kidding.
Kidding.
He said kidding.
Okay.
He said kidding.
All right. Pooch's going, what?
All right,
Okay. See, I thought he was messing with me there, but I just like to point out that also, I had my great grandmother that supposedly came back, because I didn't know who she was. It's a woman in white that would, haunt
Chase
me.
you out of the basement?
Yes, in my dreams and chase me out of the basement. And her name was Elizabeth. Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
The next one I put in here was the 6 Toledo haunts. The reason for that is the Collingwood
Art Center.
Art Center has some interesting paranormal legends about it because it used to be a convent.
Right. And so the nuns supposedly haunt that building.
2 of them.
Which
nice
is
one and a
interesting.
bad one. Yeah. So if you watch that one, that's an interesting story. And I'm kind of like speeding up because we are out of time by a minute already.
What?
But if you guys don't mind, we're going to keep going because we don't have that many more.
I don't think they'll mind.
If you guys have to leave, have a great time. We'll see you next week. But we'll keep going here. The next one we have is the Stonehouse Restaurant.
Yes.
With Fanny
Ross. Yes.
Yeah, Fanny Ross, who was one of the owners and proprietors, who actually had experiences herself and told the ghost, if you're not going to pick up a rag and clean, get out.
And supposedly for quite a while, the spirit activity died down.
Yeah.
But supposedly she has come back now to make sure things are still going well at her building.
We've actually been to that location twice. We stayed there once. And then the second time we went back for the Bigfoot conference, they were booked.
Right. So
but we went there for lunch.
Yes.
So,
yes.
Yeah. The next one I have in here is Lanterman's Mill. Everyone's heard of Lanterman's Mill if you watched our channel. Okay.
Yes, it's another one of our local places.
Lori's been there. Kay from Happy Trails has been there.
That's right.
The reason why it's in the list is because the paranormal claims that Lanterman's Mill is a woman in period clothing looking inside the windows from outside.
That's right. She peers in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, then I put in here the Lady in White. Was a live stream we did not too long ago, number 81. So that was a couple weeks ago, right? We covered all the different claims about the Lady in White.
We did.
And then the last one is the Crybaby Bridge, which is a story that's all over the country about different bridges and stuff like that. And
yes, and pretty much most of them are either a woman throws her baby off of the bridge, or that she falls to her death and is looking for their child. So there's lots of things with the woman of those bridges.
Yeah. So there's a lot of women in paranormal history we just talked about.
We did. Pusha has a question. Says, why are the ghosts clothed? Why all the ghosts are clothed? Theoretically, it's how you die is one of the claims of that.
And it's not you; it's a impression or theory or your spirit.
Right.
A vision of your spirit's not your body.
Right.
So. Yeah. There are some that come back, like reports of people being younger.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Or, coming back being whole, even though when they passed away, they died tragically and wasn't whole,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so Pusha says, are people always buried in clothes? No, they're not. A lot of times they are buried just in a sheet, so that, how they came into the world, how they leave the world kind of thing. So it depends on your traditions of your background, your culture, how you would be buried. So no, not all of them are buried in clothing. Yeah. But of course, Inspire John says he's going to die with no pants on. Of course he would. Yeah. So Pusha says, what about babies? I'm not sure.
What about babies?
Yeah.
What about that was a
about,
question?
Yes.
What about babies?
Yes.
What do you mean, what about babies? Expand on that question just a little bit more.
Said no free spirits then. I'm not sure. But like maybe the babies crying are often heard. But why are they heard?
Well, there's two different types of paranormal activity. There's residual and intelligent. Okay, so an intelligent haunting means the spirit actually comes back and is trying to interact or something like that. Babies, the soul comes clothed. Sean, I'm not amused. What am I missing?
No, well, Inspired John was talking about the pants, and he's pretty much said your look was kind of like you're not.
Okay. I don't want to see that, amused. John. Yeah. Okay. So let me try to put this in perspective of what Poosh is asking.
Maybe she's saying is it dressed?
Okay. Now this is all in theory. We're not going to know until we pass over and know for sure all the answers. But okay, so you have residual and intelligent hauntings. I mean, there's some intelligent hauntings where they can't even get enough energy to manifest into an apparition. So you just hear them or they move things and things like that. Then there's a residual haunting, which is something that just happens over and over again because there's some sort of tragic event or a heightened, excited event, which could cause it either end of that spectrum, and it's what's the word I'm looking for? It's embedded or imprinted onto the to that area. Now, when it comes to clothing, okay, so I guess you would be referring to some sort of intelligent haunting, because of residual haunting, they would be clothed. I guess unless they're like John and they just run around streaking and something happens. But an intelligent haunt, they come back clothed. I mean, here's a theory to pose too. Why can't we just appear the way we want to appear, the way we envision what's happening? It's a different
and I look
realm. I don't think I'd want to come back naked, and I don't think you guys would want to see that either. Unless I'm going to go see John.
Oh gosh. But as far as like babies coming back clothed, I don't know if that's where she's really getting. And I would think that if they are, it's because someone loved them enough to, a mom was always gonna wrap her baby in at least a blanket.
See, now this is our opinion. Or my opinion.
Ooh, Pusha has a good one too. It says, or does the appearance depend on who sees?
See, that's a possibility too. Is it's something that our mind is trying to adjust with what's happening, and that's how they are appearing to us.
And heck, we wouldn't want to see a bunch of naked people running around, so maybe that's right.
Well, it depends on who you are, I guess. But it could be, you're right. It could be like an inner reflection, like your mind is trying to, adjust to what just happened to try to make it rationalize with it. I mean, that's a possibility too. But what I was going to say is, and this is based on my theory, I'm not going to speak for Marianne on this. I don't think the moment of passing on to the other realm has anything to do with your funeral or burial or anything like that. It's already happened. It's already happened. Thankfully, now they know that it's happened a few days before. You know what I'm saying? Like, you've already passed when it comes time for your funeral, because
sometimes you weren't dead.
So if they bury, and I told Marianne, if she buries me in a suit and a tie, which she says she's going to, I am coming back and haunting the crap out of her, because I hate wearing a tie and a suit. But I know that I'm probably not going to die in one, because I don't like wearing a tie or suit, unless there was some sort of accident and I had one on or something like that. But am I making sense? It's not what you leave, that's a ceremonial thing for us to have closure. Mm-hmm. That point of moving on happened before.
Yeah, and also,
now that's my theory, but there's other theories of, if you go back and you study past ancient history, they bury them and prepare them, and that's how they're, that kind of thing. But that's a long discussion, another topic. But I will buy several ties. I have several ties. Yes,
Pusha says in some religions and customs they put stuff in the coffin for a person to have in the life beyond.
That's true.
Mm-hmm. But I look at it too, like, everybody has their favorite outfit.
That's why I said that's my personal theory.
Yeah.
If
I like the
In the other realm, I'm not going to be wearing whatever she dresses me in to put me in the ground, because I know she's going to put me in a suit and tie, and I'm going to hate it.
Yes, you will.
I told her at least pick one of them
so
goofy
handsome.
ones. I got those Looney Tune ties, something like that.
But you'd look so handsome.
I really don't care. I'm not going to be there. It doesn't matter.
Oh, goodness. Let's see here. What else? Basically, yes, he doesn't want to wear a tie ever after.
No. I call him a noose.
Yes.
I don't get
Sean
paid
will
enough
be
to
the
wear a
ghost
tie.
looking for a change of clothes. Nice. Yeah. Well, maybe you can get Abigail Adams to wash you some new clothes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think on the other side, I'm not going to be worrying about what I'm wearing. I'll have something on, but I'll be searching for answers.
There you go. Finding a way to come back and tell me to
That's
get
right.
that tie off.
That's right. Dig me back up and get that suit off.
Got it.
And I'm going to be in your ear the whole time going, how about now? 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 How about now?
No.
All
Yes,
right,
Happy
so-
Trail says Marianne will always see you in a suit and tie. That's right, because that's what I like to see him in.
I hate it.
Pusha wants to know if we have a code. We don't actually have a code.
We probably should come up with
We should
one.
come up with one of those now that we're getting older.
Probably should.
Yeah. Houdini had one, and
I
it
tell you
didn't
one
work.
thing that we used to do when we were dating. We didn't buy each other gifts.
I was just gonna say, I think
Okay.
I know what you're getting at.
We didn't buy each other gifts, and we still really don't buy each other gifts. You know, it's like if she wants something, she gets it. If I want something, I buy it too. Once I clear it with the finances and make sure, hey, we got enough money, I got to buy it. You know, what we used to give each other were pennies.
I just typed in there, leave a penny.
Yeah.
'Cause
So if I found a penny with 1976 was the year she was born, or she found one with 1968, the year I was born, we kept it, and that's what we gave to each other as gifts, was pennies.
Mm-hmm.
So if you start seeing pennies showing up, you know it's me.
that's right.
Right?
Yeah, I like it. Let's
Yeah.
do that. Make a pact.
All right.
We'll leave
There you
pennies.
go. They're our witness.
All right, we're gonna leave pennies.
Yeah. All right. Well, hey, you know, we could keep going. If you guys keep asking us questions and keep pumping us stuff, we can keep going, or we could close it down. I don't have anywhere to be. I got a phone call to make, and
Yeah, Inspired John says, what if you can't pick anything up?
see, that's the knowledge I want to seek, how to do that.
There you go. We'll figure it out.
Figure it out.
Yeah. Maybe we'll be like the movie Ghost, and we'll go find somebody who can hear us and tell them to go
Yeah.
bring her a penny,
There we go.
or go give him a penny. We'll go find Whoopi
Timber
Goldberg.
Hill says keep going. Well, if you guys have to leave, no problem. Go ahead and leave. But we can keep going. So ask us questions, because we don't
All
have
right, we
anything
have
else.
two
All right.
questions here.
Okay.
One, what's up with the Lady in White? And two, during the future Boston trip, are you guys going to go to Salem too? Yes.
So who asked about the Lady in White?
Edward Sprinkle.
Just says, what's up with the Lady in White ghost stories? We did a live stream
A couple weeks back.
2 weeks ago. It's actually in that playlist where we went over the Lady in White reports across the
Globe.
Yeah, so there's a Lady in White, and that's supposed to signify purity or jilted love. Is that what it was?
Something like.
And there's Lady in Gray, Lady in White, Lady in Gray, Lady in Red, which
And
you want to
Lady in
stay
Green.
away from. Lady in Black. Yeah.
Mhm.
So Lady in White signifies like purity or jilted love. I think to answer your question.
But the answer to the Salem thing, yes, we have intends as we're close by, we'll do that as
Yeah,
well.
our plan was actually to go to Fall River and then go up to all the way up to Salem, you know, through Boston, all the way up to Salem, and then come back down, like maybe go up north of Pennsylvania, up, and then come down south. Maybe even like try to hit Montreal, which would have been cool.
Yeah.
Go
but
see some
it
friends in
hasn't-
Montreal, but they're not there in the
happened.
summertime.
Yeah. True. They travel
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, we have it. We have it actually planned out on Road Trippers.
Yes, we do.
Which we got to do that video yet too. We're an affiliate for Road Trippers.
Mm-hmm.
How we plan our trips and stuff. So.
Yeah.
All right. What else you got?
Inspired John wants you to leave the toilet seat up when you're dead.
Okay, no problem.
He doesn't do that now though. He's really good about putting it down. So he wouldn't
It's
leave it
because I
up.
live with a woman that has claws.
And Pusha says, yes, Montreal. So, all right. I don't think there's any more questions.
Has anybody had questions about any of the stories that we talked about? We went through a lot of them.
We did. We hit a lot, but we have a lot more out there that didn't relate to women as well. And we have a lot more to come that do. So,
yeah. A lot more.
This is just a sampling.
That's the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah.
We're never going to have all these videos done.
No.
I keep saying we're running out of stuff, but we're never going to run out.
Pusha says, yes, I missed the
Can we
beginning. Can we start over?
All right, so basically what I'll just tell you, because I guess we should have did it in the middle too. It's Women History Month. So Kay gave me an idea of doing women in paranormal history. And what we did was we went through our videos that talked about women, and we put together a playlist. Mm-hmm. So drop that link to the playlist again. So there's a playlist of all these videos that have some sort of relation to either a woman in history or a paranormal claim related to a woman or something like that in this playlist. So that's what today's stream is about, basically.
So Inspired John says, come to Allentown. I'll show you nothing because nothing happens here. You know, that's what the locals always say. The locals always say nothing happens here or nothing ever happened here.
If I come to Allentown, I'm sure we'll find something that'll make you go, brrr.
And Pusha says, are there more women ghosts or men?
No, it's 50-50.
You think it's 50-50?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's
more women.
There's a lot of stuff that... Okay, so we study heavily the Victorian era. Like... 1875 to like 1910, 1920-ish, that era in there, because there's a lot of paranormal claims associated with that due to spiritualism. Okay, so in that time frame, you got the American Civil War, which is a lot of stuff's related to that too. So I don't know. I never really compared. It's across the board. Men, women, children.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of women, though, because there's a lot of jilted lovers that you hear about, stories and things like that. I can't quantify it, but I would think that I've heard a lot of women stories.
Yeah, well, I was looking through the videos earlier, looking through the channel. There's a lot of men, you know.
Well, speaking of which, Pusha says... Next week, are we going to have men in paranormal history because we can't discriminate? And then we can compare.
We could.
Okay, maybe that'll happen.
No, see, there's a Women's History Month. Is there?
No,
is Kay still here? Or did she leave?
There is a. She said she was headed out.
She was heading out.
I don't think there is a Men's History Month.
Did Lori leave too? They have that calendar. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Why isn't there a Men's History Month? Come on.
Because you guys
talk about
credit,
equality.
You guys got credit for everything to start with. Why do you need special?
I would like a Hallmark card. Oh, I guess.
Hey, there's Father's Day.
I don't have any kids.
Yeah, that's true.
Unless you start celebrating because of Boris.
Lori says every month is Men's History Month.
Okay, every month. All right, I'll give you that one.
And Pusha says, I'll go in my corner. You don't have to go in your corner. And Inspired John says, like we don't do enough. We need a season. Oh, goodness gracious.
I was joking. It was a joke.
I know.
It was a bad joke.
I know. Ghost pets. Let's see what else.
I think anything that would be anything that would be like associated with like a a emotion, a high level emotion, love, infatuation, hate, yes, extreme anger, hate, anything that would be associated that has some sort of legend or story that could be told or found about it. Like if you look at them, which is basically what I do when I'm doing this research and compare, oh, okay, well, that sounds like this story, or that sounds like that story. Like, what do we talk about? The rose garden. She loved that rose garden. You're not ripping out my roses. Yeah, that was her passion. That's what she did. Are you serious? You're going to rip out her roses? I don't think so.
Mm-hmm. So we have a couple more things in chat. We had that there should be a paranormal census. And also that Pusha says that
a paranormal census.
Yeah,
I get that
International Men's Day is November 19th.
Oh, well, we can't wait all the way to November.
Yeah. And Lori says Menudo month is January.
What's the Gettysburg Address date?
November 19th.
See?
Yeah. Let's see here. Souls mysterious. Are women more prone to see ghosts?
What? Women more? No, I don't think it's a male or female thing. I know a lot of men in the paranormal that are sensitive to. I think it's just a sensitivity type thing. Whether you could tap into that part of your brain.
There's also Riser's Treasure Hunting wants to know if we've been to a cemetery in Pittsburgh. We haven't. We haven't done that much in Pittsburgh. So, as close as it is, we haven't done too much there. We've just done a couple of buildings there. So, all right. What else? Anything else? I think that's about all we've got coming in. All right.
Yeah, see, that's my time off. I just got 2 texts for work.
You've been doing it all
Sorry,
week.
my phone's dead.
Yeah, stop it.
I'm on a live stream right now. What was the thing about... No, we didn't go to a cemetery in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Yet.
Yeah.
Yet.
I'm assuming...
Which one? What's the name of the one that you're talking about?
He mentioned it on here somewhere. He mentioned it somewhere, I think, right before. No, just called it the Pittsburgh Cemetery.
Is that the name of it? The Pittsburgh Cemetery? Oh, that could be the name of it. I would like to go to Pittsburgh at some time and meet up with ATJ's Travels. They're not that far from us.
No, I know, right?
They're within an hour. And we keep crossing each other. Like, we're going to be in the area and they're going somewhere else. And, yeah.
So Pusha says, can someone sort out all the mismatched socks for me? I know. Where do all the other socks go?
I'll give you a little trick. When I was a bachelor, let's say in between lives or wives, I got rid of all my socks. Got rid of them. And I bought new socks and they were all the same. All the same socks. That made mating socks not a problem. They were all white, calf, no different heights. I had white socks and I had color socks in case I had to wear a noose. Made things easy. Then I got married and the wife complicated things.
Pusha says, I'm throwing them all out and buying everyone one size and black.
There you go.
Inspired John says he does that with his socks. And Inspired John says that in October, him and you should vlog a haunted hayride.
Sure.
We went on one haunted hayride. I've only ever been on one in my life, and I did it with you.
Yeah.
And I did not enjoy it.
You didn't like it. We got to find another one to go. You know what? Something I want to do someday.
What's that?
Is go on a sleigh ride.
That would be
in
awesome.
The snow.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah. Have them Santa blankets, some hot chocolate. Just... That would be fun.
That would be fun.
Have you guys ever gone to cities and do the carriage rides? Have anybody done that? Like in the, I think, wow, we saw them in
Lots of
few
cities
times.
have them.
St. Augustine's the one we did.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
We didn't do the one in, we didn't do that one we just saw recently down in Ohio. We should have.
I don't remember which one that is.
It was outside the Lafayette.
No, we didn't do it.
I don't want to say Mansfield, but it's not Mansfield.
It's not. Yeah. Marietta.
Marietta. Yeah.
Let's see here. Pusha says sleigh ride in Canada. And Lori did one in Memphis. She did a carriage ride in Memphis. Yep. I'm going to be dying here on my power here in a few. And
I always want to take the
this
missus
is to
to
Johnstown, Pennsylvania, for her to investigate. That would be cool.
That would be neat.
And Inspired John, we hired a carriage for an estate show. That's cool. That would be cool. We had a carriage that was gonna do an event that we were doing one time, but the event ended up getting, like, we didn't end up doing it, but we had them on, like, the thing. We were seeing if they were available
For the Wedding Network?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Pusha says you can still do the sleigh ride up and where her in-laws are now. There's a lot of snow there still. They had a snowstorm 2 days ago. Wow. All right. Well, we are.
Yeah, we're going to wrap it up. We
out.
want to thank you guys for coming and joining us. We will be back next Saturday. We, watch the notifications in the newsletter and all that stuff, because we may do a Behind the Haunting during the week. Not sure yet. We'll see what happens. If we got time to prep for it, we should. But we'll be posting it out. And yeah, thanks for coming and playing with us. We've had fun.
Yeah.
Stay safe. Keep your distance. All that stuff. And yeah.
Have a good one.
That's it. Until next time.
Thanks for watching.
And happy hunting. Let us know if you like this video by hitting that thumbs up. Also, if you'd like to see more videos from us in the future, support our channel by hitting that subscribe button and dinging that bell so you get notified the next time there's a video from Panic D Videos.
Thanks for watching.
Happy hunting.